Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. This is my Record Store Day 2014 video. Um, let me begin by talking about Record Store Day a little bit. This year I was a little more excited about Record Day than most leading into it. The record companies did a pretty good job of just putting out some really good stuff. Stuff that I was really looking for. There was a really good selection of metal stuff that was coming out, which I was excited about. But then as we got closer to Record Store Day, my excitement started to die down a little bit. I started being reminded of the ridiculously overpriced albums, as I started talking to the record store owners too, I started realizing that even though there was a lot more metal coming out this year, they weren't going to be ordering it. So I was able to put in a special request with one of them, and he did order what I wanted, and then it didn't come in. So, I'm in the end, I'm kind of disappointed with how this record store day has turned out. Not so much. I wasn't one of those people that waited in line. I kind of knew better after talking to the record store owners prior to today. One of them I was talking to through Facebook. I was messaging, and one of them I just gave a call to see what he actually ended up getting. But they both got a very small percentage of what they ordered. The main record store that I go to only got about 15% of what he ordered this year. And he didn't even get all of that. He still has another case that's supposed to be here on Monday because it didn't make it to his store in time, which had the Dinosaur Junior split, and it was a case of 45. I don't remember what else he had in there. So that was kind of disappointing. But I guess on Tuesday or Wednesday I'll stop in there and pick up a copy of that, I guess. But still. Just kind of the way that it was handled this year. And then the other store that I frequent on a regular basis, I saw from his Facebook he only got about 25% of what he ordered, and he ordered quite a bit, and just didn't get that much. So it was pretty disappointing from that aspect. So that alone kept me from going in and waiting in line. I wouldn't have gone, hours the night before, or hours before anyway, just because I knew that they didn't order the main albums that I wanted. Most of the main stuff that I wanted, I don't even know. The main thing I wanted was the Gojira album, and I don't even know that was available in the U.S. I know that was a regional release, and being a French band, I don't know that it was even available here. But that was one I was really looking for, and of course nobody had. I was also looking for the Type O Negative album. I'm a huge fan of Type O Negative. The main record store I go to, he did order copies of them. He ordered, I think he said 4 or 5 copies, and got no Type O Negative. So, and I mean there were a few others here and there that I was really interested in seeing, and neither store got them. And now I will say, leading into it, like I said, I wasn't planning on waiting in line. And by this morning, I was to the point where I was like, you know what, I don't even think I'm going to go. It just so happens that about 11:30 this morning, my daughter was begging me for food, so I decided to take her to get something to eat, and we happened to pass by the main record store that I frequent. I only saw 4 or 5 cars parked out front, so and they had been open for about an hour and a half at this point, so I decided to go ahead and go in and just say hey, see how it went, and see if there was anything left and what was available. And actually, to my surprise, there were a couple of really good albums available. He still had about 25 albums left. Like I said, he still has a box of 45s and possibly 10 inches that he just hasn't gotten yet. But of the main albums, I ended up buying 3, and they're all 3 albums that I'm very happy with. I haven't listened to them yet, but all in all, they look really nice, really good quality. As always with Record Store Day, I am a little, not happy with the prices. This is supposed to be about record stores and for the record stores, and I know what he marked up the albums, and I can guarantee you it's not about the record stores at all. These companies they don't care, with what they're charging the record stores for these albums. Unless they do get the full 100% that they order, they're not really making a lot of money. I do know that I talked to the other record store that I go to pretty frequently in the last couple of years. He's made enough on record store day to pay his rent for the entire year. And I talked to him yesterday, and he said that there was no way that that was going to happen this year because he just got such a small percentage of what he ordered that it's just not going to happen. So, as record store day gets more popular, it seems to be less about the record stores and more about the record companies. So, that's just my 2 cents on that. So let's go ahead and get out of the vinyl, get past the other aspects of record store day and kind of what it's turned into. Because I mean, let's be honest, there were some really good records released, and there were some really nice ones that like I said, I would have loved to have the Typo Negative. I would have loved to have had the Machine Head album that came out. Also the Crosses, I would have loved to have those the 3 EPs, but it is what it is. Like I said, I am happy with what I got. So let's go ahead and take a look. First up was the Velvet Underground Loaded. I've talked about the Velvet Underground a couple times over the last few months. I do understand why they are so, why people look at them with such respect, and why they are so influential, especially for the stuff they were putting out at that time. I'm not a huge fan of all their stuff. You know, of each of their albums, half of their songs I really love, and half of them they're okay. That's just kind of my opinion there. This one, however, Loaded, does have not just my favorite Velvet Underground song, but it's got my favorite Lou Reed song of all time, and that would be Sweet Jane. And I was really surprised to see this. I was talking to the record store owner, and he only got 4 copies of this in, so I was kind of amazed to see that this was still there. There was 1 copy left. And this was Lou Reed's last album with the Velvet Underground. As you can see, it's a limited edition run of 3,000 on pink, red, and white splatter vinyl. And the vinyl looks really cool. Again, I haven't played any of these. I'll play them over the next day or two and probably post how they sound. Or you may see them again, but really cool looking vinyl on the Cotillion label. But I do like that splatter vinyl. That does look really cool. And I hope it sounds as good as it looks. But again, that was the first purchase I made. And that was the first album that I grabbed. So again, Velvet Underground Loaded. Next up. This is a band. This is my first record of theirs. I've owned pretty much all of their CDs over the years, and I've been a fan of theirs from the beginning. As they've changed and compressed, as they've changed and progressed over the years, I've kind of followed on with them, and I've really enjoyed the journey that they've kind of taken. But the second album that I bought was Watershed from Opeth. This is probably one of my favorite Opeth albums, if not it's number 2. You can see it's a gatefold there, so you can get the whole thing in. And then we had the custom inserts there. Just some dark and eerie imagery there. And then it comes on what they call green marbled vinyl. To me, it's more of a yellow marble. I don't know if you can see the green marbling that's in there. Almost like a vomit-colored, bile-colored vinyl there. Still looks pretty cool though, but marbling with it's got some white, almost some brown and some green marbling in the yellow vinyl there. So that was the second album that I picked up, and this was actually one of them that I did want going in. And I know most of the guys, there are a number of guys that go to that particular record store that are into Opeth. So I was really surprised. He said he got 5 copies of this one. And I got the last copies of each of these. So I just kind of lucked out when I got there. And the last one, this one I didn't even see on the list, but I'm very happy with it. I've also picked up a few other of his more popular albums, and I'll get into those, and I'll do a video later on today on some of the recent, just regular finds that I've had over the last week. But Johnny Cash with his Hot and Blue guitar. This was not only Johnny Cash's first album, this was Sun's first album. I take that back, it's the first LP. Long play released on Sun. They had done a number of singles at this time. But this is Johnny Cash's 1957 debut. I think this is one of the best debuts ever. Just the music that's on here. I heard that Lonesome Whistle, Country Boy, Cry, 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 I Walk the Line, The Wreck of Old 97, Folsom Pretty, oh my God. Folsom Prison Blues, and Doing My Time. These are all just amazing, amazing songs. And this is limited to 3,000, and it's numbered. If you can see there, I don't know if you can see that. It's number 205 out of 3,000. And this is another one that ended up looking really cool. I didn't realize when I picked it up that it was on colored vinyl, but it's on a really nice solid blue vinyl. And then of course you got the Sun label there. You can't go wrong with the Sun label. Sun in Memphis there. So those are the 3 albums that I got. Again, I'm really happy with the albums that I did get. And they had a few more. I walked in with a budget. I told myself I'm not going to spend more than $75. I think I spent like $65 on the 3 albums. There were a couple more albums that I did want. They did have the Allman Brothers album, which I came close to getting. I actually didn't see the Opeth at first. The Opeth was up on one of the shelves high up there, and I had the Allman Brothers in my hand, and then I saw the Opeth album, and then it just became a game of which one do I want to put back. I wasn't going to put back the Johnny Cash, and the Velvet Underground was the cheapest. I think that one was $20 or $21. That was the cheapest of the 3 that I picked up. So it may have been, yeah, I can't remember now. It may have been $19.99. I don't know. But of the 3 that I bought, that was the cheapest one. So I didn't get the Allman Brothers. I also had the Creedence Clearwater 10-inch. I don't remember what it was. Live in '69, something like that. I had that one in my hand as well. I also had the Dylan 45 that I was looking at. They wanted like $14.99 for the Dylan 45, and I'm not a big enough fan of Dylan to pay $15 for one of his 45s. And then what else did they have? They had the Civil Wars, which I mean, these are all albums that had those been my only choices that I would have gotten. So of the few albums that were left, there were enough that I had quite a bit to choose from. So in that aspect, I was happy. And again, I was really happy with what I ended up getting. So, but that's about it, VC. Other than that, I hope you guys had a good record store day. I hope you found the stuff that you were looking for. I hope that your record stores, did a little bit better than the ones did here. But other than that, enjoy your Saturday. Have a happy Easter, and I'll put out a follow-up video pretty soon with some of my recent scores. Take care.